The following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
Hey, Ralph, how are you?
Welcome to Canna Chat. It's been a while.
Thank you.
How you doing, Rich? You have a project going that is so vitally important to not only the city of Alameda, but all of California as an example to the cities in California regarding superseding what the City Council in Alameda deemed appropriate in regards to how many dispensaries and what sort of dispensaries they can have in Alameda. So would you fill us in a little bit, tell us how your project got started and where you are right now?
Sure. So it was last year that the city chose to allow medical cannabis businesses to actually sell product in Alameda and created a process to award those licenses. Last year when that discussion was happening, it was basically a 4-0 vote on the council to allow recreational. So as we like to say, in 2017, Alameda adhered to the law that was passed in 1996. But the law that was passed in 2017 for recreational cannabis, they wanted no part of. So when that law was implemented this year in January, we went and wrote a ballot measure to basically remove the word medicinal from the laws the city wrote to regulate the sale of medicinal cannabis, thereby allowing all cannabis to be sold in Alameda. We submitted that ballot measure, got it approved and published and such, June 1st. So we have till December 1st to collect the signatures necessary, at which time the city could either adopt our law or put it on the ballot for the people of the city of Alameda to decide. Mm-hmm. Now, that's the background you asked for, but interestingly enough, as we've been out there doing this, and the city has completed their RFP process and failed miserably on the medicinal side, having very few applicants. Last Tuesday was at the city council was a report from the city staff on how they did in the process for the RFPs and lessons learned. So I'm very glad to say that of the many changes that are being considered, one of them is for the city to just add recreational cannabis to the rules. And yes. So in the words of Councilmember Odie, they're very aware that we are out there collecting signatures, and they feel there was a vote on the council about this, and they feel that it's in their best interest to control the process, and they also mention that they recognize that recreational cannabis is basically a necessity from the business point of view of the retailer and such. So what's happening in that process is the city takes the month of August off from meetings, and then they come back in September. And what they did last week was they scheduled in the first meeting of October to come back with new regulations based on input from the meeting. And at the same time, they're looking to allow 2 delivery-only businesses, first come, first served permitting for other than the dispensaries. And they also got rid of the 1,000-foot, actually I shouldn't say they got rid of it, they modified the 1,000-foot buffer zone to be a dual buffer zone of either 600 or 1,000, depending on what the sensitive use is close by. So all the things that we were basically advocating for
has come to
seems
pass.
to now be the city's position. And if this is the case, I'll come back in early October for the first reading, take a little more input, and if it's not major input, pass it on the second reading in October, which means that the current dispensary that's in the process now to get their license, and then they'll open up the RFP process for all cannabis businesses again. Theoretically, if they pass it in the end of October, theoretically maybe in November. So that's kind of an overview of where we've been and what's recently happened.
Wow. May I just say congratulations.
Well, thanks, but there's no congratulations yet. We're just, maybe the nudge out there pushing them.
Oh, no, congratulations indeed. Without your putting this together, no one was there to push them. What do you suppose was the turning point in their thought process?
I think it was perhaps two simultaneous things, or two that transpired. One is, of all the licenses that were available, so that was 2 labs, nursery, and 4 manufacturing, not a single person, and we actually enlarged that to be 3 labs, and not a single entity applied for any of those licenses. At the same time, for our 2 dispensary openings, 5 applicants applied. All 3 on Park Street were knocked out by this crazy regulations that they set up, which has far exceeded the state. One of the 2 on Webster Street failed out of the process, in the process, and 1 made it through. So I think the lack of interest is one big thing that caught their attention. And additionally, knowing that we wanted recreational all along, and knowing that we literally just went out, no lawyers, and crafted our own law, made it through the process, and then they realized when they started seeing us, for instance, at the festival in June on Webster Street and such, and they see us out in the community. Remember, we've been doing all this without ever standing in front of Safeway or Nob Hill or anything. Mm-hmm. So I think when they started seeing the community really wanted this, and knowing that 68% of our voting community voted for Prop 64, and it being an election year, I think all of that kind of came together going, well, we're hearing from the businesses they need recreational. We're hearing from the people they would like recreational. And it's an election year. Go figure. And yet, the one common theme through all of this for the 2.5 years or so that I've been involved doing this now in Alameda, the one common theme through all of this is the person running for mayor.
Trish.
Our current mayor, Trish, exactly. She was a big proponent of recreational from the beginning. It was a 4-0 fight. We couldn't win that fight. But she got, through the council and her advocacy, got medical happening. And quite honestly, I think in a lot of ways, her very vocal support of even adding recreational has shown to the people in the community who don't necessarily turn out to vote as much as we should, that we have a friend, at least with cannabis, no matter how anybody feels about any other issue in Alameda, but at least in cannabis, we have a friend there, and she's been there all along. So you say congratulations to me. I say thank you on the behalf of everyone out there doing the work. But, the other thank you is we also need to support the candidates that have been steadfast all along. Now, a lot of times you'll hear a lot of people talking about cannabis now, and they support this or they support that. But, everyone has their own point of view on situations. And the one thing I can say in this case is that, I think this has happened in Alameda, which is a rarity in our state, to be honest with you, if they bring in recreational. I think this has happened because of her driving the bus.
Oh, absolutely, right from the start. But it couldn't have been driven without the mechanic, and that's you, Rich Moskowitz. Let me ask you a question, Rich.
Okay, I'm a bus rider. How's that?
Okay. Let me ask you this, because I'm such a cynic, and I saw how the city went through the thing with the renters when Monty Hayden got it on the ballot, and they came up with some sort of phony thing I don't know if it was phony, but it was just put on at the last minute, and it kind of messed things up for the renters. What if when they come back from hiatus and they have these meetings and they make a decision at that point, no go? And at that point, there may not be enough time to get signatures unless you're continuing to get them and not count on the fact, that they will vote in favor. Is that something that crossed your mind?
Well, to be honest with you, Ralph, and you know this full well, I'm a New Yorker, so I believe two things. One, I believe in the words of Lou Reed that says you need a busload of faith to get by. But I also grew up in a time where my first president, for better or worse, was Ronald Reagan, and the one thing I took away from that presidency is trust, but verify. So I like to cover my bases, is what I'm saying. So absolutely, we are not stopping. If anything, we are more motivated than ever because we have till December 1st. And at which point, if the city has not acted, we turn in our signatures.
Oh,
they get
good.
Verified.
Good, because they could be playing possum. They could be playing possum. I know people like Ashcroft, who's going to run for mayor, Odeby, who's probably being investigated right now for one of seven different things. I know those people don't really want this to happen recreationally.
Well, I don't know about that. I saw at the council meeting, I saw a connection for 3 of the 5 people on the dais, a direct connection to cannabis. So, it was publicly shared. So I'm not doing anything that I shouldn't by any means.
Right.
But Jim Odie publicly shared at the last council meeting that he had been diagnosed with skin cancer and such, and he had been undergoing some treatment for that. And so, he had a personal connection to this issue because, of the connection of cannabis and cancer and such. And people have certainly talked to him more about creams and other things for some healing purposes on his part that he spoke about publicly. And at the same time, Maria Vella talked about, her personal connection with her mother passing and how cannabis eased her mother's time.
She's always been proactive.
Right.
She's been great.
We have a personal connection. So my point is that I believe that there has been some level of fundamental change in the feeling of the elected that recreational cannabis is right for the city, even though it's controversial. And I think there's been a fundamental change and I certainly hope there has anyway, with the city staff. Now, the city staff coming back with much more favorable regulations for council. However, you talked about the mistrust. I would have to say that I mistrust city staff or the office that's handling the cannabis issue more so than our elected reps. I think our elected reps have their own unique set of issues that we're all kind of familiar with.
Right.
But when it comes to cannabis, I feel that if there was one change I could make in Alameda, it would be that the permitting and regulation and follow through on licensing for cannabis businesses was taken away from the community development department. They have consistently shown a lack of understanding on the topic. They have consistently shown predilection to spending large sums of money on consultants and getting nothing back. And they, even at the Tuesday meeting, they continue to show a lack of understanding of the current cannabis climate, as well as the taxation issue. And when I say that, I mean the city taxation issue, not the state or the greater personal taxation issues. So I would say the biggest issue with cannabis in Alameda, successfully completing on this mission that the city has voted on and the council has voted on, the biggest impediment to this, I would have to say, is the fact that this rests in the hands of community development, and the city has consistently refused to take any input into the process for licensing.
How can the people make it known to these agencies that we're not in favor of what they're doing? Can we call? Can we email?
I would say that the most effective way in Alameda to show up, because when you do show up, you only have 3 minutes to speak, and public speaking is a challenge for a lot of people. They are not comfortable with it. However, I would say the most effective way in Alameda is to write directly to the council. You can write to all 5 of them at once and to express any citizen's views. What you'll find is some of those council members will directly contact you back very quickly, and some will act as if they've never received it. But in a year of voting, I think that should also inform your voting.
Right. No, absolutely.
But anything written to the city council members, the way it happens, so people aren't surprised, if you write, then you get an email back with a little thing to just say that you are who you are, a little like internet check, and it happens one time. And then you're just verified as, and boom. And everything is there and everything is public record. So, be nice, don't treat it like Facebook.
Right.
But be nice, but your point of view is your point of view. You're an American, you're an Alamedan, you have a point of view. And they're there to hear your point of view. So if you think that a city agency, or if anyone thinks a city agency is, let's just say, dropping the ball, or,
or dropping it and then kicking it into the sewer.
Well, I was going to say, or, playing out of their pay grade, so to speak,
right.
Then that's your opinion, and your council members are here to hear that, and you are certainly more than welcome to request them action from them.
Okay.
As opposed to just giving your point of view.
Now, if you would give our listeners a specific way to sign your petition, it would be very helpful.
Okay. You can always send an email at any time to Alameda Cannabis Times at gmail.com. And we will be happy to come to you at any point to grab a signature. We could do that, at Starbucks or anywhere you're convenient with. Not that I'm big here to Starbucks, I prefer Pete's, but, point is we can do that anywhere in Alameda that's convenient. You can also find us at certain local events. We are right now considering being at the Booze and Brews, which was very, good for us last year when we were trying to get signatures and awareness built for the medical issue. And, we had fun on Webster Street back in June and got hundreds of signatures. So you could always look for us anywhere. We have our petitions around. You can always go to Facebook and look up Alameda Cannabis Times and connect with us that way. And yes, so I would say email is probably the most efficient way, and every so often we have little house parties. People throw private house parties, so they might get little invites from their friends where we sit around, can talk about cannabis and grab some signatures or do some education, whatever is appropriate for people.
And appropriate cannabis is for most people that I associate with. And glad to have you as my friend so that we could appreciate appropriateness together sometimes.
Thanks. And you know what else has been appropriate is people have been enjoying having these little get-togethers and having a little presentation basically about the history and why cannabis works in the body. You know, it's something that's kind of a new thing for a lot of people, so they're very unfamiliar with what's known as the endocannabinoid system or terpenes and things like that. So a lot of times people have been enjoying just organizing a little event in their home, so having 6 or 8 of their friends over who are new to this world. This is generally with seniors and such, and having a little hands-on education, and quite honestly, then they always seem to sign the petition too.
Hey, it's a new age Tupperware party.
Exactly.
And the most important thing, come as you are. And you're not going to find many parties in Alameda where people come as they are. And that's the one advantage of cannabis that has brought us together as a community. And I'm so happy. You're telling me this for the first time. We haven't discussed this about the council's reaction. I have a feeling it will never come to having to be on the ballot. Just from the way you're telling me, I hear that you have a confidence that we're on the right track.
I think it would be wonderful if well, I'm of mixed mind. On one hand, I think it'd be wonderful if the city would do what we did, which was we didn't add a single thing to their law. We basically just removed the word medicinal. So, but yeah, I do think that the city is going to take this on and make our, well, let me use its full name, the 2018 Alameda Citizens Responsible Adult Use Cannabis Initiative irrelevant. And we'll see. And if not, then, you know, we'll still be out there. We'll be out there all summer. We'll be at the mayor's debate in a couple of weeks. And if we have the opportunity to ask a question, it's heavily moderated. But if I have the opportunity to ask a question, I will certainly ask for them to say where they stand on recreational cannabis in the current petition.
Beautiful. Hey, Rich, thank you, sir, for the update. And I'm so happy you're my friend. Way to go.
Okay, I can say the same. Thank you, Ralph.
All right.
Have a great day.
Be good. If you're listening out there, do what Richie tells you to do. Sign a petition. We'll be back when we're back. Adios, everybody.